Hi. Being enslaved to Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, is one thing, but also being his concubine is quite another. Sarah Sally Hemings was the full younger sister of James Hemings and the half-sister of Martha Jefferson. The three of them shared the same father, John Wales, who worked as an attorney, planter, and slave trader. When Wales died, Thomas Jefferson inherited the Hemings family, 11,000 acres of land, 135 slaves, and baby Sally were brought to Monticello, Jefferson's home. The Hemings received entitlements because of their parentage and would be trained in a skill when they turned 14. In 1782, Martha Jefferson dies while giving birth, and Governor Jefferson is devastated by her death. In 1784, he accepts the position of the American envoy to France and takes his eldest daughter and several of his slaves. While he's away, his daughter Lucy Elizabeth dies, and Jefferson insists that his youngest daughter, Mary, come to live with him in France. She is accompanied by 14-year-old Sally Hemings. Since France had abolished slavery, both James and Sally were technically free and had to be paid. James was in chef's training, Sally as a servant, and both were learning to speak French. It's not clear when the relationship between Sally and Thomas evolved, but something started during the 26-month stay. When it was near time to depart for the United States, Jefferson worried that they wouldn't return with him, especially Sally. There was hesitation on their part, but according to Madison Hemings' memoir, Sally was pregnant in Paris and wanted to be near her mother and family. She returned to slavery after she negotiated that her children would be free when they turned 21, and Jefferson agreed. Jefferson took meticulous notes, and births were always recorded for other slaves, but he never identified the father of Sally's children in his farm book. They had 6 children, and 2 died. The remaining were Beverly, Harriet, Madison, and Eston. Beverly and Harriet left the state, identified as white, and never returned. Madison and Eston stayed. Jefferson freed Sally's brothers, Robert and Peter, while he was alive. After Jefferson died in 1826, he freed her children as dictated in his will and allowed them to stay in the state. Martha, his daughter, freed Sally, which allowed her to stay with her sons Eston and Madison. In the 1833 census, Sally, Madison, and Eston were declared free people of color. Sally was able to see a grandchild born in the house her son owned before she died in 1835. There has been a lot of controversy revolving around whether Jefferson fathered her children, as Sally could have had other suitors. Now, some historians and others refuse to believe the DNA results that show Jefferson may have fathered Eston Hemings. They choose to ignore Jefferson followed in his father-in-law's footsteps by taking a concubine and having 6 children with them, and people look the other way because of their stature. In all this controversy, the age gap for some reason was immaterial, as well as the idea of consent, and if a slave has the right to consent. And I'll just leave that right there.